Does your British car door lock rotate when you try to lock or unlock the door? Hi, I'm Chris, and in this video I'm going to show you how to fix a loose door lock in your classic British car. So I'm in the middle of restoring my 1966 Triumph Spitfire, wrapping it up, and I ordered a new set of locks for the car with a matching key. The old lock for the door looks like this. Several British cars use this variation. Triumph used them in the Spitfire, the TR4, the TR6, maybe a couple others. I know MGBs use them. I'm sure there's several British sports cars that use them. Essentially what this does is this arm here is what actuates the lock mechanism in the burst plate of the door. You slide this lock in from the outside, the exterior of the door, and then these metal prongs here are supposed to kind of pop out, and what they'll do is they'll generate a friction fit in between and pinch the door in between the lock and those things, and it's supposed to prevent the little pointed edge there is supposed to prevent rotation. Well, over time those edges are going to wear out. For my brand new door locks, they never wore out. They just didn't fit well enough, fit tight enough, and you couldn't get it to grab without rotating. So what I'm going to show you how to do in this video is make this contraption. Here's that little arm. You've got a C washer here, another washer here, a little rubber grommet to protect the inside of the door a little bit, and then grub screws, and that's going to hopefully keep that door lock tight and in place. Extreme close up here, this is the door lock. The position of it's not the best to be able to see those tines sticking out, but you can kind of see them there, and it's just not grabbing on the door. But that's how that kind of fits from the front. Pieces, parts you need for this, pretty straightforward. Large flat washer here, relatively thick. It's about a ½ inch of an inner diameter, probably an 1.5 inch outer diameter. Got two of those. I have a rubber fender washer here, and that's going to go between the door and this washer. Two grub screws or set screws or whatever you want to call them. These are 3/4 of an inch long. Allen wrench to operate those. 1/4 tap for the grub screws, and then a number 3 drill for the 1/4 inch tap. That's defined right here. It says use with the number 3 drill bit. I don't know how well you can see that. So that's really all the stuff that you need here to do this. Just the parts, not including the drill bit, the tap, and the Allen wrench, are probably about $3. You can pick up a kit from Moss. It costs $13. It does do the pair, but if you have the other stuff and you've got some time, this is going to save you some money, especially when the shipping is probably going to cost you just as much as the part itself. Instead of using the smaller washer here, I did explore using one of these very large washers. It's about 5/8 of an inch inner diameter, and the reason I was looking at using that is because it fits much better the lock than this one does, because you got to grind that out in some way, shape, or form. But what I was concerned with is this is such a large diameter that it was going to not sit flat against the door, and as I would tighten down the grub screws on that, the door would start to deform around that washer. So I hopefully solved that problem by using a piece of rubber here and using this washer. You can see that faint black line. That's where I'll have to round it out to. I'm just going to use a burr wheel for that. And then on my rubber washer here, I've got a black line here. Just going to take a razor knife and cut that out so that it can fit around the barrel of the lock. So we'll go ahead, we'll take care of those pieces real quick. Then we need to make this into a C-clamp, or excuse me, a C-washer. So this is my aftermarket lock here. A couple things you need to do first, really only one, is the spring clip here. You got to get that off, so I just took a little flathead screwdriver, get it inside the spot where it'll come off, and just essentially pry it off. There's not, whichever way it kind of comes off here, nothing special about doing this. Alright, so now that that's off, you'll be able to slip the washers and the rubber grommet and everything else that needs to go on that. One point to make about this piece of rubber here, this is not intended to be a weather seal at all. It's just to provide a little bit of a cushion between the metal of the door and the washer that's going to sit there. So I'm not concerned that this circle isn't perfectly round and flush and provide a seal. Got the 2 marks there for rounding out the washer and making the C washer. So I'm going to go ahead and cut and grind and do what I need to do to make that work. Unfortunately, I forgot to hit play there, but I just took an air-powered burr wheel here and just rounded that out. Just a bunch of trial and error and everything just to get it to fit on there. So that's going to go over top like that. That's what's going to pinch between the door exterior and the lock. And then again here, I just made a C-clamp. Keep saying C-clamp. C-washer. And that's going to fit in that little groove here. So that takes also some trial and error to get that. And that little groove is what these spring clips sat inside of. So this is going to go over top like this. This is going to fit over top of here like this. And obviously that piece of that rubber fender washer is going to be in there also. And then there's going to be 2 grub screws screwed into this guy, and it's going to split these washers apart. And because this is in a valley, it's going to put tension on it, and it's going to hold it in place and prevent it from rotating. So now I'm going to make marks and drill holes and then tap for the grub screws. I'll try to remember to record it this time. When you drill these holes, you don't have a whole lot of room. You can see that grub screw is pretty large with respect to how much room you have in there. I suppose you could use smaller ones. So when you drill these holes, just make sure that you're right in the center there and you don't drill them so big that you run out and cut your metal out. So now that I got the 2 little dots there for the drill, a little guide dot, what I'll do is bring it over to the drill. I'll start with a really small drill bit and then go up to the number 3. Got the C washer and the vise here, put a little bit of oil in there, just got my tap. Again, 1/4 28. I'm going to go ahead in a little hand chuck here and just get it tapped. A little difficult to get going, but once you get it going, it goes pretty smooth. I'm going to try to keep it straight, perpendicular to the washer as much as you can. Alright, holes are tapped. Grub screws are going to fit right in there. Just like that. And like that. Collar goes around. And when it tightens up, you can see it's a little crooked there. Not really concerned about that, but when it tightens up, sets that C washer, pushes against the channel, lifts it out, pinching it against the door. So that's how it works. Yeah, that's really crooked. Well, but anyway, it's all good to go. So now we'll get this in. I have a door that it needs a new lock, so I'll go ahead and get that in. So for this particular door, the burst plate goes here on the side. I pulled that out, and I had to disconnect the linkage that opens and shuts the door from the internal. That's this piece here, so that's loose. Your door is probably going to differ, but this hole right here is where the door lock goes in. So to get the old one out, you have to pinch those 2 little tines together, either using a screwdriver or something to kind of wiggle it out. You very well may chip some paint if there's not already paint chip there, so just try to be careful with that. It's not the best. With the new door lock, there is a rubber seal that goes between the exterior of the door and the lock. That's that guy right there that you can see, that rubber seal, so make sure that that's on there. And then when you're going to put it through, for this particular door, the operator here is going to point towards the outside because that's going to interact with the lever on the burst plate. So we're going to come through the inside of the door now. Come up and inside, and you can kind of see that sneak in there. Then we're going to take that rubber washer that I put in there, get that guy on. Now I do have the door glass in here. So all the guts are inside the door. It makes it a little tricky to kind of fit everything in here. I got the window rolled up here. It's obviously not very easy to work in here and get in there. So now I've got the rubber grommet down. I've got the flat washer on there. Now I'm going to put the C washer on here. Loosen the grub screws all the way out. Alright, so now the C collar is on there. Take my 1/8 inch Allen wrench. Door lock is in tight. So right now the door is locked because I can't push on this. Unlock it. Works. Okay. Lock it. Alright, and that does not rotate. So again, that's the way you do that. Not that hard to do. There's some fabrication that you need to do, obviously, and some tools that you need, but otherwise a fix to a problem that probably plagues most of us. Alright everybody, hope you enjoyed the video and can take advantage of securing your door lock so that it doesn't spin on you and become more frustrating and possibly cause some chipping paint and other damage to your door. Take care, be healthy, and be safe. Cheers.